So welcome back everyone to the Back 40 Firewood channel. I'm finally finished putting together the rough setup of my splitting station. My new summer operation, so to say. I want to keep the splitter stationary. You all know that if you've been following along. And I know some of you have been waiting to see what I've come up with. So I'm going to show you right now. I've moved the bucking platform to incorporate it into this whole process up here, the whole workflow. The idea, well, I'll show you. So not to keep you waiting in suspense any longer, here it is, the new splitting station. Can I have a drum roll? Do we have a drum roll? Is there a drum roll? Oh, no drum roll. Okay, here we go. All right, so before I show you this, I do want to just explain and clarify one thing. I am the type of guy who likes to kind of break things up and segment it out and not do like all my bucking, all my splitting, all my stacking. I like to do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, come back, do some more of this. So I kind of prefer the workflow being where I buck for a little bit, I split for a little bit, and then I maybe stack, or I come back and buck again, and then split again. So that's kind of what this whole thought process was based around. The other big factor that it was based around was the fact that I didn't want to have to bend down and pick rounds up off the ground. So like, you know, instead of bucking them on the ground or bucking them with the grapple and having the rounds drop down, I wanted to have something where I could take the round, move it at waist height over to the splitter, and then have a little like staging area where I could split a good amount of wood up. So here we go. Here's what I came up with. So I've got two logs back on the pallet forks here, two of them that I brought back from my neighbors the other night. So those are going to be my two that I test this out with. So basically the idea is over there would be where I would have my drop zone where logs would get dumped off. I could pick them up with the forks, either one at a time or two. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them right over here up to the bucking station, or the bucking platform. When I was up at Rick's Woodyard and I was using his bucking platform that he made, the one thing I did notice is it was a little high for me. Like I was almost holding my saw up instead of kind of holding it and then kind of cutting down. So this is why I kind of built it kind of low. I'm still going to use the logs. So I've got two channels in here that I can rest two logs in and then potentially put a third log on top of those. So I could buck three of them at a time. So I'll set the logs up here. This is where they'll get bucked up. The channels are, I think, are wide enough. The only thing I'm gonna have to watch for is that when I load them, I don't roll them off the back. So yeah, this is where a grapple would be ideal. I know, a grapple would be nice, but right now, I'm gonna have to make do with the forks. I did put some little stops in there so the logs won't roll out. If this is the way that I like it and everything goes as I plan, I'm gonna put more permanent and screw in with some lag bolts, some other stops, some 2x4 stops on the front here to prevent that log from rolling off. So I'll be able to buck from both sides, and then once the pieces are bucked up, the idea is to tip them, or to take them, spin them, and roll them down the log, and then from waist height, I can just pick them up and slide them over there to a little 5-foot gravity conveyor, tip them up on end if need be, then roll them down, load up the log lift, so I can, you know, basically just move the round by gravity, just push it down, tip it, put it on the log lift, stack up, you know, well, however many, 2, 4, 6, 8, however many rounds I can fit on the log lift at once. Then tip the rounds up and have another set sitting on this gravity conveyor waiting, so that I can just then take those and roll them back down to reload the log lift. Each time, you know, so here's where reloading the log lift, I'm not bending over and picking up the rounds. I'm just gonna slide them right down the line onto the log lift, onto the splitter. From the splitter, I have the trailer parked right in here where I can either let the pieces push themselves onto, or I can throw the pieces, load up the trailer. From there, I would just take it wherever I want to stack it, take the trailer, and then stack the wood. So there is a wide shot of the start to finish operation. On the left, the logs get placed up there. I buck them up. I either roll them or just carry them over to the gravity conveyor where they slide down and load the log lift, or they stay on the conveyor waiting to go on the log lift. From the log lift to the splitter, from the splitter to the trailer. The whole while potentially not having to bend down and pick any log or any round up off the ground. Everything should be kept pretty much at waist height. All right, so let's give this a try. Let's load up the logs and see what happens. All right, so that felt like it was a good height for bucking. The log stayed in the channel, didn't get pulled out by the chain. So now I'm gonna move them on down the line. And like I said, hopefully I'll be able to just keep these all at waist height and move them over to the conveyor. Little boss man is out here because he's been anxiously awaiting the opportunity to roll some logs down this conveyor. right, so there it is. All those pieces split up in the trailer, ready to go, be stacked. Well, as soon as I fill the rest of the trailer up. So yeah, so those two logs up there, both bucked up. I think there was 11 pieces. They all fit on the log lift and then on the gravity conveyor here. So 2 logs worth fit on there fine. Well, those size logs anyway. If they were longer, it might be a little different story. But then actually rolling them down here worked pretty good too, to just put the piece straddling the channel there and just roll it, because this does have a slight, it's a slight incline going up that way. So rolling it down, pretty easy. Then just lifting it from the logs over to the conveyor, sliding it down onto the log lift. Trial run, the test run here, I think worked out pretty good. So all right, there it is, the first run through of 2 logs up there on the bucking platform. I'm happy with this so far. I'm sure with some of your feedback, I will be making some tweaks and changes. But I think it's going to work out good to bring the logs in, set them up down there, buck them. The other thing too is, like I said, I can get 3 logs up there, and I could potentially then, you know, put 2 or 3 logs up there, buck them up, put the pieces down here, get 2 more logs, buck those up, have those pieces ready. So I could have quite a few rounds staged out, ready to go, ready to split, and then run them through the splitter onto the trailer. Boom, right there, and then off they go to either the stack or the shed or wherever. I think these are actually going to go up into the woodshed because I have a little more space I can fill up, and these will be ready to burn come this fall. So there you go. There is the big the splitting station, the bucking, rolling, and then splitting station. I'll just keep trying it out and tweaking it as I go. It is a work in progress. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, leave any feedback down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.